everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kristen, this is my booktube, and as you probably have already noticed, we are in a very different filming location today, and that is because I am currently out and about. I am on my way to a farmer's market in Dallas with one of my friends. I am about to pick him up, and then we are going to head out. So today is Monday, September 4th. It is Labor Day. That means I am off work for today. So that is why I'm currently sitting in my car. I have made my way over to my friend's apartment and I'm about to pick him up, and then we are going to head off to Dallas. But that is not the topic of this week's video. Nay. In this week's video, we're going to be doing a reading vlog. So I figured because I have a lot of reading to do in the next few days, we may as well turn it into a little reading vlog video. The drive from my house to my friend's apartment was about 35-ish minutes, and I've just been listening to the last couple chapters of A Court of Wings and Ruin so that I can finish off that trilogy. And then after I am done with that trilogy, the next thing that I have to finish is I need to read Fourth Wing. I have a book club meeting on that book on Wednesday afternoon, so I have about a day and a half, maybe 2-ish days to finish reading that book. Well, to start and finish, let's make that clear. I have not started this book yet, but I have about 2 days to read this book. I have the audiobook, so I can listen to it on increased speed, but it is also a thick book. I believe that the audiobook on regular speed is over 20 hours, so we got a lot of progress to be made in the next couple days. So I decided I may as well take y'all along with me and give you a little bit of an update. So we're starting off this reading vlog a little bit differently, but after that, we're going to be diving right into the reading for this week. So yeah, those are the two main books that I want to finish this week. And then once I'm done with Fourth Wing, I want to hop back into finishing the ACOTAR series. Once I'm done with A Court of Wings and Ruin, that will be the end of the reread of this series for me. And then the last 2 books that I have to read will be completely new. So hopefully I can get through at least one of those, but we're gonna see how much I can get through this week. If it's more, that's great. If it's not, that's fine as well. As long as I can finish Fourth Wing before my meeting on Wednesday at noon, I will be happy. Without further rambling, let's go ahead and get this day started. It is now a little bit after 2 o'clock, and I have gone to the farmer's market with my friend, brought him back home, and now I am back home as well. There wasn't a ton open just because it's a Monday. They have a little food hall thing with like some little shops set up in there, so we just walked around there for a little bit and walked around the neighborhood a bit before it got too hot. It is now 100 degrees outside, and I am ready to just sit inside for the rest of the afternoon until it cools off some, and then maybe I'll go out in the backyard and play with the dogs a bit once it starts cooling down again this evening. As far as a reading update goes, I am very close to finishing A Court of Wings and Ruin. Not gonna lie, I did tear up. I did cry a little bit. I forgot about one specific part of the big battle sequence towards the end of the book, and it made me tear up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Spoilers ahead for anyone who has not read this book. You may want to skip ahead about 30-ish seconds. But so I remembered a lot of what happens in the battle sequence, so it didn't hit me as hard, but I forgot that when Draken and Miriam and their army show up, just when it looks like Hybern is going to win, I forgot that it's not only their armies, but also Queen Vassa, the 6th queen who had been missing or sick throughout most of the second book, but also that Farah, Nesta, and Elaine's dad show up. That this whole time he had been hunting down the missing queen and rallying his own band of troops to come and help in the war. I forgot about all of that, and it just made me a little emotional, because specifically the part where he shows up and he has the 3 ships named after the daughters, and Draken tells Nesta and Feyre that he specifically said that I have 3 daughters that I have failed in the past, that I did not fight for the way that I should, and I am here to rectify that situation. I am here to fight for them. And that just, it got me the first time I read it, and it got me again because I completely forgot about that part. Parents fighting for their children in situations like that will always make me cry. It's also the same formula in the Harry Potter series that makes me cry. When Molly Weasley kills Bellatrix Lestrange, same kind of vibe, and she says, "Not my daughter, you bitch," and then kills her. That also makes me cry. So the fact that I forgot about that really didn't help my emotions while listening. Even with all of that, I still have about an hour and a half left of this audiobook. I have some laundry to do and some other things that I need to do this afternoon, so hopefully I will be able to finish that pretty quickly. I should definitely be able to finish it today, and hopefully be able to start Fourth Wing while I'm doing some other chore type things around the house. But yeah, that is my little reading update. I haven't done much else other than go to the farmer's market and listen to this audiobook on my way to and from. I will check in later once I have a chance to finish this book and hopefully start Fourth Wing. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 5th. It is about 8:30 in the morning. I've logged on to work for the day, and since I didn't give you any sort of update last night, let's go ahead and do a recap of what I did finish reading yesterday, and also a little game plan for what I want to get done today. Well, really what I need to get done today, because I'm swiftly running out of time to finish Fourth Wing ahead of my book club meeting tomorrow. So last night I did finish A Court of Wings and Ruin, and it was just as good as I remembered it. I gave it 5 stars the first time I read it. I gave it 5 stars again. It is my favorite of the series so far. I haven't read the other ones. So that is where I'm going to leave the ACOTAR series for now. And then I will jump back in with the next one, which I think is called like A Court of Frost and Starlight or something like that. It's got like Frost and Starlight in the title. If it's not exactly that, it's close. As for today, my main goal is going to be obviously working, because, you know, got to do that. But aside from that, my main goal reading-wise is going to be to start and finish Fourth Wing. Maybe not today. I may have a little bit left over for tomorrow, but I want to get as much done of it as I can today. I did literally just start the book before I remembered that I am filming a reading vlog, and I probably should update you on what I'm doing. So I just started the audiobook. Haven't even gotten into the story yet. It's just like the book publisher credits at the beginning, I guess is what it's called. So I haven't even heard the first word of the story yet before I realized that I needed to update you guys. When I did start the audiobook, even though it was just the credits, I set the speed to 1.5, which is what I'm going to try to listen to it on. If the narrator doesn't talk super fast, I should be able to do it. And at 1.5 speed, the audiobook is about 13-ish hours, maybe more like 13 hours and 45 minutes. I don't exactly remember, and I am filming on my phone right now, so I can't really check for you either. We'll say it's a bit under 14 hours total. At regular speed, this audiobook is about 20 hours long, so putting it at 1.5 speed cuts out about 6-ish hours. So if you've never thought about listening to audiobooks on increased speed, I would recommend it. It's a good way to get through these longer audiobooks a bit faster. And usually, at least I've found that it's not that hard to follow along even when they're talking really fast. You get used to it. It may sound weird at first, but you get used to the speed, you get used to the cadence of how the narrator speaks on increased speed. And in my experience, once you start listening on increased speed, it's kind of hard to back it down to normal speed unless the narrator just talks really fast for some reason. I usually listen to all of my audiobooks on at least 1.2 speed. If I listen to them on normal speed, they just sound really slow. And I feel like I myself have a tendency to talk a bit fast. Maybe that's why I'm more inclined towards a faster paced narration style.
but it also helps me get through more audiobooks at a faster pace. So either way, it works out for me. On 1.5 speed, this audiobook is going to take me a little under 14 hours. I will be listening to it the majority of today. However, as per usual in my job, I can't listen to it for 8 hours straight. There are things that I have to do, that I have to pause it and not have any sort of distractions. But I will be listening to it any other times that I feel like I can handle listening to something while I'm doing other more data entry type work, if that makes any sense. The book club meeting is during lunch tomorrow, so it is at noon tomorrow. So that means I have a little over 24 hours to finish this book, probably closer to like exactly 13 hours to finish this book. So you may not get an update from me tomorrow until after the book club, because I may be frantically listening to a book and I won't be able to pause to update you. But in any case, we will see how that shakes out. I really need to make a cup of coffee. I need to wake up and I need to be productive today. So I'm going to go make a cup of coffee and get to work. And I will check in at the end of the day to let you know how much of this book I made it through and what the strategy is going to be to finish the rest of it. Good afternoon, everyone. It is later in the day now. It is about 4:15 in the afternoon. If my eyes look a little red, it's because I'm having a bit of allergies today. I put on some sunscreen and some powder. I didn't put on any eye makeup or anything like that, but my eyes have been a little itchy today. So they're looking a little red, that's why. I didn't make as much reading progress as I would have liked today, which, what else is new? That has a tendency to happen when I am under crunch time for finishing a book, and today is no different. I only got through the first 5 out of 39 chapters of the book, so we have quite a ways to go. However, even though I didn't get to listen to that much today during work, I do need to do some cooking, some meal prepping tonight, so that I have lunches throughout the week when I'm in the office. So while I am working on prepping that, I will be listening to my audiobook. I do have a couple different things that I need to do this afternoon/evening, so hopefully that'll help me get through a decent chunk of this book tonight to where I can hopefully finish it tomorrow morning. But as of right now, we are pretty far behind, but we're going to keep on trucking and we're going to try to finish this book as quickly as possible. So I'm going to do some meal prepping. I will maybe check in later tonight. I might not check back in until tomorrow morning. But in any case, the next clip you see will be updating you on how much of this book I am able to finish tonight and how much I have left for tomorrow. Hello everyone. We are past due for an update. Today is Wednesday, September 6th, and it is about 1:15 in the afternoon. So my book club meeting has already happened, and I did finish the book with about 20 minutes to spare before the meeting actually started. I was listening to 2 times speed pretty much up to the last minute, so I did not have time to update you since I last checked in last night. You didn't miss much. All I did was listen as much as I could while playing Animal Crossing last night. Something, mindless. I don't really have to read anything, think too much about. I was literally just farming manila clams on my island to use as fish bait. So didn't miss anything there either. It was just like mundane collecting of items. But I did that until I got really tired around like 10 o'clock. I noticed that I wasn't really paying attention as much as I should have been. So I stopped there, went to sleep, and then as soon as I woke up this morning and started getting ready, I turned the audiobook on again, and then I finished the last couple hours of the book before my book club meeting happened at noon. So I was really cutting it down to the wire, but we got there in the end, and that's all that matters. And now for the rest of the afternoon, I can go back to listening to whatever I want to listen to. As for what I thought about Fourth Wing, I thought it was good. I don't think it's as good as other people make it seem. And that could be partly due to the fact that I was coming off of reading A Court of Wings and Ruin, which, as you probably know by now because I won't stop saying it, it's my favorite book in the original ACOTAR trilogy. So I was essentially coming off of my favorite book in that series and going into another fantasy that, if I'm being honest,
has very similar vibes character-wise for some of the characters. Cough, cough, Xaden and Rhysand. So that could also be part of why I didn't rave over it, because I had just read a book that I rated 5 stars twice, and this one just wasn't quite up to that level for me, fantasy-wise. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.25 in the end. A 4.25 felt like it fit in the best with the ratings that I gave the ACOTAR books that I've read, which I think are the only other fantasy books that I read this year. I could be wrong, but that is essentially what I was comparing it to, was that series, because that is the fantasy that is most fresh in my mind right now. And compared to those, I thought it was really good, but felt like it wasn't quite as good as the ACOTAR series. And I think that also comes down to the characters themselves. There were more characters that I didn't really vibe with that well, specifically Dane in Fourth Wing. He annoyed me so much from the beginning to the end of the book. I just did not like him. He was supposed to be like the other prong of the love triangle in this book, but I was never leaning towards him. He was just belittling the entire time, just like talking down to Violet and like acting like he knew what was best for her and underestimating her, being super overprotective. And it's not a vibe that I like in a character. And then on the other side, Xaden, who is the actual love interest in this enemies to lovers story, I didn't particularly like him that much either. Not that I disliked him in the way that I did Dane, but he just didn't have enough substance to him for me to like him as much as some of the other characters in ACOTAR that I like a lot, like Rhysand. Xaden and Rhysand seem to be cut from a similar cloth. I don't know if Rebecca Yarros intended that to be the vibe of Xaden. I don't know if there is any substance to my correlation between the two, but the whole time I was reading Fourth Wing and Xaden would talk, I would think of Rhys in A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then I would inevitably think about how I like Rhys a little bit more than I like Xaden. He just didn't really have any big moments that made me want to like him more. So I was kind of just like about him most of the time. I liked Violet quite a bit, but I just didn't really connect with Xaden and Violet as a couple, and therefore I wasn't as invested as I could have been. Now, I may reread this book in like a year's time and feel totally different about it when I'm not under a time crunch, but as of right now, that was kind of how I was feeling about it. By far, my favorite character in this book was the little golden dragon. Her name is Endarna, and she is so cute. She is adorable throughout the whole book. She's just a little baby and she tries her best to help and use her powers, but she just gets so tired and then she has to sleep for like days on end after she uses her power. And I loved her so much. Like, if there was one character in this book that their death would have made me cry, it would have been hers. If that little dragon would have died, which she doesn't, spoilers, but if that little dragon would have died in this book, I would have been inconsolable. She is my favorite character in this book, and I don't know what that says about the writing of this book or me as a person that I didn't vibe with any of the characters in particular, but I really like the baby dragon that can't even really do much in this book because she's a baby. But I can't help how I feel, and she was my favorite character. I probably will end up reading the next book in this series when it does come out, but I'm not itching to read it right now, which I think is also kind of a sign that, like, even though I did enjoy it and it was really good, it wasn't 5-star worthy. Once I finish a 5-star book in a series, I just want the next one, like right now. And that's not really how I'm feeling right now. The way I'm feeling right now is I can't wait to get back to the rest of the ACOTAR series that I haven't read yet. I'm very excited to start A Court of Frost and Starlight. I believe that's what the next book is called. And that's just not the same vibe that I have after reading Fourth Wing. So that's how I'm feeling right now. I didn't hate it, but it's not one of my favorite books that I've read this year. So 4.25 is where I'm sitting right now, and that's also taking into account that I did read it coming off the heels of one of my favorite books that I read last year. That will probably also end up being one of my top rated books this year, and then going into this book. So I think that that kind of did skew my perception of this book a little bit, but I still overall think it's a very good book. I see why people like it so much. For me personally, I'm going to continue to be a Reese girl. I'm not abandoning ship. The Bat Boys still got my heart, so I will be returning to them this afternoon. To be more accurate, I will be returning to the Bat Boys after I watch Cari Reed's summary of A Court of Wings and Ruin, because I'm still doing the whole read the book, watch her synopsis, then go on to the next book. So I'm going to continue that theme, and the rest of my afternoon is going to be spent listening to her synopsis of A Court of Wings and Ruin before I move on to A Court of Frost and Starlight. So this is only day 2, is that right? This is only day 2 of the reading vlog, and we are already finished with one book. So let's keep it going. Let's see how many we can finish by Friday. I've been talking enough. I need to get back to my desk, get back to work, but I just wanted to fill you guys in, since this is the first free moment I have had to actually fill you in on what I've been doing. So I gotta get back to it, and I will update you later on what progress has been made for the rest of today. Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 7th. It is about 9 a.m. in the morning. I am at my office once again to get ready for the workday, get some stuff done, listen to some more audiobooks, all of that jazz. And before we get going in like the update and getting into the rest of the day, I want to take this moment to apologize for the lack of B-roll in this video. I completely forgot about the concept of, B-roll footage in between my speaking updates to you. So that's my bad. My apologies for that. I'm still learning. I'm still getting my brain, I guess, into the YouTube content creator mindset, so I forget to film things a lot of the times. The content and the reading progress of the reading vlog is still the same nonetheless, but I will make a conscious effort in the future to be better about that. As far as a reading update for this morning, catching you up on what I did yesterday after we last spoke, I finished out the rest of the work that I had for the day, listened to Cari Reed's video summary of A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then I did start A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is like the winter novella of the series. And I only got like a chapter or 2 into that book yesterday, and I will end up listening to the bulk of it today. Even though it's a novella, the audiobook is still like 6 hours long, which I think is so funny that like the novella and the shortest book in this series thus far is still over 200 pages, and a normal audiobook length, like other novellas that I've read were like 2 to 3 hour audiobooks, but this one is still over 6 hours. And it just shows how much Sarah J. Maas likes to explain things. She's very wordy, obviously. Most of her books are over 600 pages, so not totally unexpected, but it's funny when you put it in context with other novellas. So that is what I'm going to be listening to today, and I will probably get through a good chunk of it. I'm not going to really try to get through the whole thing today. I'm gonna just listen when I can, and we'll see how far I get. I think I'm on chapter 6 right now of 29. I would check and tell you exactly where I am, but I am currently recording this on my phone, so can't really look at it right now. But I believe that once I got into work today, I was on chapter 6 of 29. I don't know how many hours I have left, but for reference, that's how many chapters I've gotten through so far. I can already understand why it's one of the lower rated books of the series. There's not a lot that's going on right now, and like I can also understand why people call it like the Christmas special of the series. Even though what they're celebrating is the solstice and the longest night of the year and all of that stuff, it is very much Christmas coded. Like it's really just like family dynamics around Christmas time. It truly does feel like a Christmas special where we just get to see the inner circle interacting during the holidays, which is cute. Like I do think I'm going to enjoy the book. I just don't think it's going to be the most interesting of the ones that I've read. Like we're coming off the heels of A Court of Wings and Ruin, which is pretty action packed for most of the book, and now we're going into like a cutesy Christmas novella. So like Very different vibes for sure, but I'm not gonna hold that against it. I do want to give it a fair shot, and hopefully, since it's not that long, even if it's not super action-packed or that exciting, it shouldn't drag on or anything. So that's at least something. But yeah, so that is my plan for the day. And then once I do finish A Court of Frost and Starlight, then I will start A Court of Silver Flames and just finish out the series. Not sure if we'll get to that in this reading vlog or not. I do plan on ending this reading vlog tomorrow so that I can have time to edit this all together and upload it on Saturday. We're just going to read at what is a normal pace for me and see what we get through. I need to go get my yogurt and eat my breakfast because my stomach has been growling basically this entire time. And then I need to get to work. I will try to get more B-roll footage of me typing so that it's not just clips of me talking cobbled together. But other than that, that's pretty much all I'm doing today. So I will check in later, probably after work, just to let you know what I was able to get through and where we stand. And yeah, so I'm gonna go eat my breakfast now. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, September 9th. It is about 8:30 in the morning. I am still in my pajamas, as you can tell. I am working from home today, so it's going to be a pretty chill Friday. I don't have a ton of work to do. I do have a couple things, but my list is quite short. So hopefully it's a pretty laid back Friday, and I don't have any like sudden fires that pop up that I have to deal with. As far as reading progress, I got through a lot of A Court of Frost and Starlight yesterday. I have a little bit over an hour left to finish today, so I should be able to knock that out pretty easily. And then for the rest of the workday, I'm just going to be starting A Court of Silver Flames. Then after work, I'll probably do some more Greek retelling reading on here so that I can take some notes, annotate, all of that good stuff. Yeah, so that is the reading plan for today. I will do one more update before I close out this vlog. I do need to start editing this today because this is supposed to go up tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have one more check-in before we end this vlog, and I will tell you my final thoughts of A Court of Frost and Starlight, and then if I get to start A Court of Silver Flames, I will also let you know how I'm feeling about that. But as of right now, I need coffee and I need to get to work. So let's make that happen.
Hello again, friends. It is now the end of the workday. It is a little after 4 p.m. and we are going to make this fast and wrap up this reading vlog because the footage that I have already edited together up to today is already over 25 minutes long. So what did I finish today, you may ask? Today I finished A Court of Frost and Starlight. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's a pretty forgettable book in the series, if I'm quite honest. Unless there are things that are revisited in A Court of Silver Flames and in the future books that are coming out in this series, I honestly think that it's kind of a throwaway book, and I can kind of see why people don't really count it as part of the core series, because it really didn't do any advancement of the plot or really any character development. Like, we kind of got to see a bit of what Tamlin is up to in this time. He is truly in his emo boy era. He is dwelling in his dark castle and just like truly, honestly, kind of going true beast form. He's really sticking to that Beauty and the Beast motif, and he is in his like ruined castle era, just like brooding all the time, and he's not in a good headspace mentally. In A Court of Frost and Starlight, Rhys goes to visit him a couple times. I don't really think I picked up on what his reason was for going to visit Tamlin. It seemed kind of random. I don't know if he was just like genuinely concerned about his well-being and wanted to check in on him and make sure that he's not like a danger to himself or other people, or if he just enjoys seeing Tamlin at rock bottom. It's not really clear what Rhys is there to do, because he just kind of shows up, briefly talks to him a little bit. We get to hear through Rhys's point of view what the Spring Court Manor looks like and how it's in like disrepair, how Tamlin has literally dismissed his entire court. It's basically just been him brooding in his manor. He's going out and hunting for all of his own food. He's kind of gone feral, honestly. He's very like sad and still hung up on Farah. And yeah, it's an interesting part of the plot. I have heard that there is going to be a redemption arc of sorts for Tamlin where, you know, he gets to heal and overcome all of the things that have happened to him and come to terms with all of the things that he has done. I don't know if that happens in A Court of Silver Flames or if that's something that people are speculating is going to happen in the other books that are coming out. But just from where I am right now after reading A Court of Frost and Starlight, he just seems very sad. And Tammy needs some therapy, that's for sure. That's kind of the biggest thing that happens in the book as far as like character development and things happening that will probably directly impact the story as it goes on, because as Lucian says in A Court of Frost and Starlight, before the dust settles, they are going to need Tamlin's help one way or another. He is a High Lord of the Spring Court. He is one of 7 High Lords. They all banded together to take down Hybern, and they're gonna need him in the future. So I think that's kind of what motivates Rhys to go and check on him, like just make sure that he's not like in a bottomless pit of despair, which he kind of is, but Rhys doesn't really do anything to make it better. So I guess I will see if that comes into play in A Court of Silver Flames, but just from reading A Court of Frost and Starlight, it kind of just seems like Rhys is just kind of reveling in the sadness that is Tamlin's life, which is really kind of messed up. But maybe I read it wrong. Maybe that's not what he was doing, but it just seemed a little weird, if I'm being honest. So I ended up giving that book 3 stars. Like I said, I didn't really get much further plot or character development. It was cute. The Bat Boys had a snowball fight. Amryn is there with Varian. They have a cute little couples Christmas gift exchange kind of thing. Everyone exchanges presents. Nesta shows up and she's all moody and silent and just kind of makes the vibe weird, but she's there nonetheless. And her and Cassian have this like weird tiff at the end of the book that I'm not sure how to interpret either. But considering that A Court of Silver Flames is from Nesta's point of view, I'm sure that is going to be talked about and resolved in the next book. And I have started reading A Court of Silver Flames. I started that about 30-ish minutes ago, so I'm really not that far into it. I literally am just in the first chapter. We have heard from Nesta's point of view what it was like going into the cauldron. The story picks up after the summer solstice, and Cassian goes to see Nesta. So that is literally all that I know right now. I haven't read anything else. I'm still in chapter 1. I was happy that I was able to get through A Court of Frost and Starlight and start A Court of Silver Flames. I will continue reading that throughout the weekend and into next week, however long it takes me to finish it. It is like a 26-hour audiobook on normal speed. I will probably be listening to it on 1.5 speed. That is what I've listened to the other ACOTAR books on, so that seems to be the standard speed that works for me for these books. And putting it on 1.5 speed brings the time down to about 17 hours, so definitely can't finish it today before I finish editing this video and set it to upload, but I have started it and I will finish it within the next week, that is for sure. As far as a general recap of all of the things that we've read this week. So on Monday, I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin. I gave that 5 stars. It was Chef's Kiss. It's my favorite in the series. I know a lot of people prefer A Court of Mist and Fury, and though I do really like that one, my favorite is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I like that one a lot. I think the story is far superior to the first 2 books. And I think that's the only reason why I like it so much more. There is a ton of character development that happens in the second book, and that may be why people like that one so much. But for me, the story in the third one was just so gripping, and it had me on the edge of my seat both times I read it, gave me chills, made me cry, as we discussed earlier. So for those reasons, it is my favorite of the trilogy. Then on Tuesday, I started Fourth Wing and finished it Wednesday morning, literally 20 minutes before my book club meeting on it. And though I really did enjoy that book because I read a book that I really loved right before it, that is also a fantasy. It kind of put not that it put a damper on it, but my bar was really high. I was coming off of a high of the book before, and then I jumped into this new fantasy book, and it was really good. I ended up rating it 4.25 stars, and I definitely would recommend it to other people. It just was not as good as A Court of Wings and Ruin, in my opinion. Then also on Wednesday in the afternoon, that is when I started A Court of Frost and Starlight. And I got through pretty much all of that yesterday, minus like an hour and 15-ish minutes, and then finished that today. And I ended up giving it just a 3-star. And that is solely because I can see myself pretty much forgetting everything that happened in that book, other than Tamlin being an emo guy. And then finally, this afternoon, I did start A Court of Silver Flames, which is focused on Nesta and Cassian. And that is where the reading vlog is going to end today. I will be sure to update you on my thoughts of A Court of Silver Flames once I'm finished with it, so look forward to that. That is the end of the reading vlog for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Apologies once again for the lack of aesthetic B-roll in this video, and that this video pretty much ended up just being me talking at you for 40 minutes. We got through quite a few books this week. We made some good reading progress. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Let me know. I do plan on reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes fairly soon, and also doing a full reread of the Hunger Games series, which I have not read in over 10 years, so that should be a fun series to do a reread on. That series also made me cry a couple times the first time I read it, so we'll see if I get that emotional again. If that is a reading vlog you would be interested in seeing, leave a comment down below. If you have any other book recommendations or books that you would like to see me read, maybe in a reading vlog style like this, so I can tell you my thoughts fresh off my brain whenever I do read them, then let me know that as well. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!